I met Michael B. Jordan early on in the development process of Creed 3. I knew he was obviously going to star, and it was really exciting that Michael was going to direct this one. And Michael had really ambitious goals from the beginning. I think that he's a huge anime fan. He's a real cinephile, and he really wanted to try and push the kind of story that you can tell within this franchise. Obviously, it's going to be a huge boxing movie. It's going to be really inspirational. But he also, from the beginning, was talking about trying to bring in these elements of like noir and thriller and a bit of anime into it that was going to make it feel really distinct in his own. So that was really exciting to try and figure out how far you could push the boundaries of what a Creed movie was. So the story of Creed 3 is we pick up with Adonis after he has decided to retire from boxing. And he is at the pinnacle of his career, he is at the pinnacle of his marriage and his professional life, and he is trying to figure out what that means and what his responsibilities are moving forward. And into that moment of his life, a old friend, this guy Damian Anderson, who's played by Jonathan Majors, gets out of prison and comes back to reconnect with Adonis. And Damian's return brings up a lot of old baggage from these two fighters' life, and that Damian had been a fighter himself and had, in a lot of ways, unlocked that sport for Adonis. And now Damian is ready to reclaim some of the aspects of his career that he thinks have been stolen from him. And it becomes a very complicated story about what Adonis's responsibility towards helping Damian is, towards achieving his goals, and what Damian's ultimate motivations are, whether they're actually to fulfill something for himself or to take some vengeance against Adonis for things that he thinks he's responsible for. And it leads to, a really dramatic, compelling final fight that's, I think, is unlike anything in any other Creed films. So Adonis in Creed 3 has really had a very large transformation in his life. That when we met Adonis in Creed 1, he was very much a kid still. He was a young man who was really trying to figure out who he was. His father died in a boxing ring and was not there to raise him, and that has affected every aspect of his life. So in Creed 3, we really tried to focus on what it meant for Adonis to be a father and how that impacted his decisions to leave boxing. So at the beginning of Creed 3, Adonis retires, really with the intention of trying to be part of a family and be a father in the way that his father was never able to be for him. What we wanted to do with creating this character in Damian was to put Adonis in the ring with the most personal opponent that he could possibly face. And that was, what would be like fighting his brother. And so in creating Dame, we wanted it to feel like Adonis was being forced to fight his family and the people that knew him the most and knew the things about him that he hated the most. Jonathan Majors brought so much to this role, and his performance in Damian, I don't think anyone else could have touched. From the minute Jonathan walked onto rehearsals, he was already Damian, and he never really left that. Jonathan is, I think is one of the most talented actors of his generation, and he's obviously such an incredible physical presence, but what is really special about him is how thoughtful and deep and emotional and surprising he is able to be. So I think Jonathan is going to blow people away in this movie. One of our favorite characters in Creed 3 is Amara, who is Adonis and Bianca's daughter, who is played by this wonderful young actress named Mila. And That was a very, very fun and very challenging part to write because Amara is deaf, and it was something that we were really interested in exploring, how Adonis would deal and cope and parent in an environment that he was not familiar with. But we were also incredibly sensitive and about how to portray that character in a really truthful way. And Zinzi Coogler was a huge inspiration in making sure that we had access to the deaf community in a way where we could really feel confident that we were capturing that experience in a way that felt authentic. And also those conversations always open up incredibly rich storytelling opportunities that feel specific and unique. We're really excited about the opportunity to explore this father-daughter relationship between Adonis and Amara, which felt really unique and different than the kind of father-son dynamics that are traditionally found in sports movies. And that I think it puts Adonis in a position where he has to recognize that his life in a lot of ways has been really shaped by strong women. That Marianne is obviously an incredibly huge part of his life, and someone who has really given him almost every opportunity that he has come from her, at tremendous sacrifice to herself. And Bianca has done the same thing. And for Adonis to start to see that in his daughter as well felt like a real opportunity to build a new important character in the Creed franchise. And I think that there's real opportunities of where Amara could go moving forward, especially if she continues to want to be a fighter. Tessa is incredibly smart and incredibly emotionally insightful, and immediately saw things on the page that one could be better, and also that she was, I hope, was really excited to play, because it was gonna, we really wanted to try and give Bianca as much authority and agency in the story as Adonis has, and to really use this film as an opportunity to show the struggles in her life and to show how inspirational she's been in overcoming them. I think when people go to see Creed 3 in theaters and in IMAX, they're going to have an incredibly visceral experience. That what we set out to do when we made this movie was to honor the legacy of all the Rocky films, of all the Creed films, but to try and take it to a new level. And this film has all the excitement, all the inspiration, all of the emotional power and suspense of everything you've come to expect out of a Creed film. Michael's cinematic vision as a director is really wide in scope, and it deserves to be seen in a really big way.